Morning, boys and girls. So today, what we're going to do for your lesson this week, and we hope you're home staying safe, what we're going to do is we are going to be creating a castle, and we're going to do it step by step. Now, if you miss anything in the video, you can always go back and rewind it and check it out again. And also, I've left for you a bunch of links and pictures and tons of things that you can look at for ideas or just to get your mind going and start thinking about how you're going to put your castle together. So the castle I'm going to draw with you, we're going to do step by step. You can follow the steps in the castle, but there's also another video if you want to just make your own freeform castle or just design it any way that you want. That's fine. So we just really want to spend this week just kind of getting ideas together and seeing what you can do with simple shapes and lines and patterns and things like that. Now this is just going to be a plain pencil drawing, but if you want to add color and you have colors at home, that's entirely up to you. If you just have a pencil and paper, then you can just do the pencil part, and then when you come back to school, and remember to bring your drawings back, when you come back to school, you can add some color there. We'll give you some time to do that. So you should have 3 sheets of paper. Now, one of the sheets of paper is for your project. The other 2 are if you want to make extra projects, or if you want to explore any of the other links that are on our website, or if you just goofed up and you needed a second one just as an extra. It's entirely up to you. You could also use some of the other sheets if you want to get a brother or sister or somebody that's also home with you to draw with you. So I'm going to switch over and we're going to begin. So you'll need a piece of paper and your pencil. And again, if you need to stop the video and rewind it, you can do it if you want to play all the way through and then go back and do it again. It's entirely up to you. So let's get started. Okay. So we got our piece of paper. Now you want the paper to go up and down. Okay. Some of the videos I show, I have the paper go side to side. It's up to you. I'm going to do up and down to follow this video. All right. Now the first thing we're going to do is we're going to take our pencil and we're gonna take a look at where the center of the page is. The center of the page is right about here. So we're gonna come down to about here and we're gonna draw a line. Now I put a little bit of a curve in this line, just like that. Okay. You can put a curve in your line. You can have it straight. You could actually do it zigzag, whichever way you want to do it. Okay. So you go ahead and draw a line, a curved line. And now we're going to be using simple shapes like rectangles, squares, just to get started. Most of the castle, and you'll see in a lot of the idea sheets that I left for you, the castle is mostly just rectangles and squares of different sizes. Okay, so we're going to start right in the middle. Now, if I look at it, again, the middle of the paper is right about here. Okay, so I want to come up maybe just a little bit above that. What I also like to do is I like to mark and say, okay, that's where I'm going to come up to. So you can put little marks if you want. You don't have to, but if you want to just mark to know the height or the width of something, you can do that. So I'm going to come up. Now I draw where I pull it toward me, so I'm going to do it a little bit in reverse, but you can go up this way if you want, and then I'm going to come over and then down. But for me, it's easier for me to pull it toward me, so I pull it down. And remember, when you're drawing, you want to keep your wrist nice and loose on the table, but you want to lift up your elbow. So now I'm going to come across, and you might want to practice doing it a couple times just in your mind before you actually make the line. So come across just like that, and then I'm going to come down. And again, I can pull it toward me. It's nice and easy. So this is going to be the first building of my castle. All right, so the next step, and actually before I get into the next step, I want to tell you that I'm drawing pretty dark on the screen so you can see it. For years, you might want to loosen up on pressing down so hard, so do it a little bit lighter, because if you ever have to erase, you can erase it. Okay, so for the next building, I'm going to actually, before I do that, I'm going to put the top on it. So I'm going to come out on the sides, just a little bit, not too far. Okay, and we're going to put the top on, which I believe is called a crenellation. So then I'm going to come up on each side. Now, why don't I just do it where I just do a rectangle straight across? Well, because I want to make sure that it's even. So I typically, what artists do is they'll do one side and then the other side just to make it even and symmetrical, which is the same on both sides. Now I'm going to come across, and I'm going to do this actually very lightly because I know I'm going to erase this line. Okay, so I came across, you could barely see it. And what I want to do, since these are crenellations, is I'm actually going to go and dip the line down like that. So we go across, dip down a little bit, and then across and up, and so on. Just like that. Okay? And then let me erase my guiding line in there. So I've got my first building. Okay, now the reason I wanted to add this crenellation on top here is because we're actually going to make it look like buildings are behind this building. So I'm going to have a building that's going to come up and out and then down. So what I want to do is I want to start inside here. Okay. Now again, if I'm going too fast for you, you can stop at any time and rewind it and just go at your own pace. Okay. So I'm going to start in here and I'm going to come up, again, another rectangle. I'm going to come over to my little mark that I had here. I'm going to come over and then I'm going to come down. And I want to go straight down, so I'm going to actually pull my arm. Pull it towards me. So I'm actually drawing with my shoulder and my elbow instead of my wrist. Okay. Now I'm going to repeat the same thing up here. So I'm going to come out a little bit, out on each side, and then, yep, come up, up. Now for the top of this one, I want to make it a little bit different. So I'm actually going to use some curved lines. Okay, so I'm going to curve into here. Now, I do want to make it even. I didn't really do that on this one, but I want to make it even. So I'm actually going to come in this way. There's different ways to do things, but I'm going to do it like that. Now, I can go across and then over, which I think I'm going to do. I'm going to come across and then over. And I want to do the same thing here. Come across and over, and that way I know, see, I've matched it all up, so now I come across right there. So I made it as even as I could get it. So I've got two buildings. One looks like it's behind, and this one looks like it's in front. Okay, so we're getting into a little bit of 3D, not too much. Now the other thing is, it's okay to make your buildings different widths. So you can make them the same distance wide. You could do different heights. You could make them the same distance height. It's up to you. Or you can make them different widths. So I'm going to actually do this one a little bit higher. So I'm going to come up just a little bit. But I'm going to make it thinner. Okay. So I'm going to come over. Now I'm not going to go over as far. Just a little bit on the outside. And then I'm going to come down because I'm going to make this a tower. So again, I'm thinking ahead. You're going to want to think ahead of what you want yours to look like. So once I've got that done, come over, the top parts there, come up, up. over. Now I did this one straight across because what I want to do here is I'm actually going to do triangles. Because I'm going to make this one a little bit of a tower. You see how I'm doing the right side then the left side? I can make it even like that. And then I'm going to make a little bit, kind of run out of room at the top, so I'm going to make a little bit of a tower there. So again, I know this goes fast because it's a video, but pause it if you need to, and just come back to it or rewind it as you need. Now at this point, I can keep going. I can build some more buildings. Again, they're going to be behind the other buildings. So if I have this little building coming off the side here, okay, it's just going to show a little bit. And this is up to you if you want to do it this way, or if you want to do something different. Okay. Now, at this point, I encourage you to look at all of the different examples and click on the pictures of the different parts of castles, the different kinds of buildings. You can look at the texture of them. So if you want to think about, do you want your castle to have wood in it, or metal, or is your castle made out of stone or brick? Because at this point, what you're going to do is you're going to start adding some decorations, okay? So you might want to pause at this point and go back onto the website and just check out some of those different examples. All right, so this part, I'm going to make these little things, these little supports that come down. And again, I'm just using simple shapes. Okay. And then I might want to erase, see, this is why you want to do it lightly. You might want to erase some lines in there. Just to make it look like it supports it. And this is just one thing you do. Some castles were very decorated, what they call ornate. So they had lots of decorations on them. So again, you can get pretty detailed with these, or you can make them pretty simple, however you want to do it. When you're making your castle, the other thing that you want to think about is, what's the story with your castle? Okay, you can make up a whole entire story, and those of you who like to write, you can write your story also. I actually put up some little triangles there. See what that looks like. There you go. And some circles, and you can get pretty detailed. Again, this is a pencil drawing, so feel free to make it detailed. Door. I know you're all thinking, what about a door? Yep, you could do a door. Okay, you could do a rectangle. You could do, sometimes castles had these curved doors, right? You could make, I know some of you are thinking like the water in front. Those are called the moats with a bridge. You could do all that. I'm actually I'm gonna make this line. It's gonna come out. Now you could do this with straight lines, or you could do it with curved lines. I'm gonna just do a curved line. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna have it come out, and it's going to go into the corner like that. Now my other one, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to do the same curve. So I'm going to curve it in the same direction, but then when I get here, I'm going to go into this corner, and it's going to make it look like a road. So keep them about the same distance apart, curve in the same direction, and then go out that way. And it looks like a little road that goes back there. I know all these neat little drawing tricks, right? Do some half circles up here. I also put on another video that I did of a really detailed black and white castle that I have with pen and ink. So you should check that out too. And then the examples for this one actually also have some painting in it. So. But you can see how we add color. I'm going to just adding some lines here. I'm going to make my door wood, so I'm going to add the lines that will make it wood, and I'll put a little curved line there. It's hard to see, but and then we'll put some little bars right there. Sometimes they have those little trap doors. All right. So then I want to also think about, well, how do I want to decorate this? So I'm actually going to do little squares, and what I'm doing is I'm curving the squares, right? So this is actually going to make it look like stone. So little curve, and they don't have to match up perfectly. That's the cool thing about doing stone castles, is you don't have to match it up, because all these little imperfections in here, the little shapes, we can get rid of those. Now, if you want to do like stripes or polka dots, you know, whatever you want to do for your castle, if you want to make it a little simpler, that's entirely up to you, because I want to have them offset. These are kind of right on top of each other, so I'm going to have them offset a little bit. So see how I did that? Kind of like an upside down T. That'll make it look like the stones are right on top of each other. And you can have different size stones also. Now be careful, it's not a circle. So at this point, I'm going to finish drawing the rest of this, and this is going to kind of speed up a little bit on the video. But at this point, you can go ahead and continue drawing yours. You can watch me as I speed draw it. But at this point, it's pretty much up to you how you want to put yours together. Okay. The other thing I was thinking of too is, if you want to make your castle like a fantastical castle or a castle in the future, you know, that might be made out of different materials like metal or glass or things like that. Or if it's a fantastical one, if you want to make it made out of cotton candy or something, it's entirely up to you how you do it. So just going to go ahead and finish these. Okay. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and draw it, and then we'll talk about what we can do with a little bit on the foreground, and that'll be it. So. Okay, so let me tell you what I've done here. So I put up some flags, and notice I have the flags kind of all going in the same direction. So if there's wind, you want to have them go all in the same direction, and that would just make sense, right? The other thing is, I did some, I didn't do stone back here, I did brick, and you can, just so you can see the difference. So the brick is actually a little bit easier to do, because you do straight lines going across, and then you do vertical lines going up and down, and you kind of offset them so they're not, you know, directly on top of each other. So I did that down here, and I did that here. I also, when you get to the bottom, if you make them a little bit larger, and the ones at the top a little bit smaller, it would make more sense, because these are going to be the stronger ones down at the bottom. I left this one blank just because I wanted to do something a little bit different and just kind of leave that so when it gets colored, it's just like a light color. But that's pretty much it. So I've got a lot of the details in my drawing. I can obviously add a lot more if I want to keep going, but that's pretty good. So let's talk about what we can do in here. So in here, if you want to do stuff in the front, what you can do is, this is a neat little trick. So I'm going to just make some bushes and trees here. So if I take my pencil and I just draw some like curved lines here, right? And kind of come down the other side, just like that, right? Out like kind of like a triangle shape. And I'll come over in the front. And then if I erase all of this on the inside, that's, again, why you want to do it a little bit light to begin with. Erase everything on the inside, then this will look like a tree or a bush in front. Just like that, see? And I can put another one right behind it, kind of coming off. And again, don't forget to do the bottom here. And erase that line there. So you can do that. You could do them on both sides. This one's a little bit further behind, remember, because that's in the back of all these buildings. So this one's going to be a little bit smaller. Erase the lines. And then if you want to, let's put another one back here. Put a little smaller one back there. And if you want to, you can even add little accent lines. Again, these ones are going to be smaller. 1 or 2 is fine, right? So now we've kind of given a little bit of space there. Another thing that's kind of neat to do is just do like these little triangle lines. I know they're kind of small. Little triangle lines right there look like grass. And a little smaller as you get further away, a little bigger up front. Right? Like that. And then I'm just going to do some little kind of bumpy accent lines right there for the road. Maybe put a little rock right there. And that's pretty much it. So there's my castle. And now I'm ready to outline it and maybe paint it, or if I want to, I can even go in here and shade it. You know, depends on what you want to do. So, but this was our project for this week. So when you come in, bring in your castle. Just a drawing is fine. If you have color on it, again, that's fine. But bring this drawing in, because I'll be looking to collect it, and we'll give you credit for it. So, okay. So have a safe week, and I can't wait to see your drawings.